You're watching TAG TV.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 7th of January. Norwegian Prime Minister addresses India-Norway Business Summit in New Delhi. Calls for reforms grow as Afghan poll body accused of violation of law. And Madhesi political party in Nepal presses for constitution amendment. And now for all the details. Norwegian Prime Minister Erna Solberg on Monday said Norway sees great scope for partnerships with India in business, trade and investments, and her country's new strategy for engagement with India reflects its significance. She made the remarks while addressing the India-Norway Business Summit in Indian capital, New Delhi.
Norwegian Prime Minister Erna Solberg on Monday said Norway sees great scope for partnerships with India in business, trade and investments, and the country's new strategy for engagement with India reflects its significance. Solberg made the remarks while addressing the India-Norway Business Summit in Indian capital New Delhi. She said efforts are on to ensure that the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement between European Free Trade Association and India is finalized soon, as it will contribute to increased trade and better environment for businesses from the two nations.
The aim of the new strategy is to strengthen Norway's bilateral relations and economic ties with India. Private sector engagement, research and technical cooperation are key components of this strategy. It focuses on oceans, energy and the environment, and on increased cooperation and contact between our countries at the political level.
Later in the day, the Norwegian Prime Minister visited a government school in the Indian capital and interacted with students. She is scheduled to meet her Indian counterpart Narendra Modi on Tuesday. Both the leaders are expected to sign an agreement to facilitate dialogue to boost bilateral trade, which currently stands at $1.2 billion.
Chief of Staff of the French Navy, Admiral Christopher Prazouk, was accorded a ceremonial guard of honor in Indian capital New Delhi on Monday. The visiting Navy chief, who is on a 4-day visit to India to strengthen relations between the navies of the two countries, was welcomed by his Indian counterpart Sunil Lanba upon his arrival. They both were later scheduled to hold talks on a range of issues of mutual interest encompassing maritime operations, training, logistics and maintenance. Both the navies engaged with each other on several occasions, including the annual naval exercise Varun. In addition, ships from both navies make regular port calls at each other's ports. And in news from Afghanistan, Umair Dodzai, Afghan President's special envoy, is expected to visit Pakistan on Tuesday to meet top Pakistani leadership to discuss the Afghan peace process. There has been a renewed interest from Pakistan's side after continued US pressure to achieve a political settlement with the Taliban to end the 17-year-long conflict in Afghanistan.
Umar Daudzai, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani's special envoy for regional affairs on consensus around peace and head of the High Peace Council Secretariat, is expected to visit Pakistan on Tuesday, where he will meet top Pakistani military, religious and political leaders to discuss Afghan peace process. There has been a renewed interest from Pakistan's side to cooperate with US and Afghanistan to achieve a political settlement with the Taliban to end the 17-year-long conflict in Afghanistan. Washington often accuses Islamabad of covertly sheltering Taliban leaders who stage attacks in Afghanistan, an accusation Islamabad vehemently denies.
وزیر خارجه پاکستان دیدن میکنن در رابطه با صلح افغانستان، با لویدرستیز پاکستان دیدن میکنن در رابطه با صلح افغانستان، با رهبران سیاسی و مذهبی مطرح پاکستان که رول عمده در سیاست‌های داخلی و خارجی پاکستان دارن در رابطه با حمایت از صلح افغانستان صحبت میکنن.
Meanwhile, lawmakers in the lower house of Afghan parliament said that regional countries are seeking their own interests from the Afghan peace process. The Taliban has persistently rejected the Afghan government's offer for direct talks. The High Peace Council, however, has expressed hopes the Taliban will soon agree to engage in direct talks with the Afghan government.
More news from Afghanistan. Some of the electoral monitoring organizations in Afghanistan have said that the country's constitution and the election law were severely violated in the polls held recently. They called on the country's judicial institutions on Sunday to take action against those who have committed fraud and have violated the law.
Amid reports on large-scale fraud and irregularities in October 28 parliamentary election last year, some electoral monitoring organizations on Sunday said Afghanistan's constitution and the election law have been severely violated in the polls. They called on the country's judicial institutions to take action against those who have committed fraud and have violated the law. Meanwhile, Mohammad Hidayat, an advisor to the second vice president, said the Afghan government has stressed that there is a need for systematic reforms in the election commissions.
اساسی صورت گرفته و این مسئولش کسایی هستند که تصمیم گیرنده همچون مورد بوده. از لحاظ قانون انتخابات یعنی ما اگر محاسبه بکنیم بیشتر از 22 مورد است که همکارای ما ریزی کار میکنن، اینها در قانون انتخابات نقض انجام دادن. اما اینکه حکومت افغانستان به شمول رئیس جمهور اگر اینها مکانیزم اداری زیر تعقیب نمیکنه، مسئولیت برمیخوره به خود رئیس جمهور.
مشکلات بسیار زیاد بود و هیچ قابل انکار نیست متاسفانه. به همین خاطر است که او مشکلات را که ما در انتخابات گذشته داشتیم ایجاب میکنه که اصلاحات باید در کمیسیون‌های انتخاباتی بیاید، ولی که اصلاحات تا کجاها را باید بده باشه و تا چه مرحله را باید در بر بگیره، او چیز تا هنوز در حکومت تصمیم گرفته نشده.
Meanwhile, officials from the Independent Election Commission or IEC have said that the Election Commission will soon bring reforms. They said systematic reforms will be implemented both in the technical level and in the secretariat level, including in the staff level.
Moving on to news from Nepal. Nepal government's coalition partner Sanghya Samajwadi Forum has asked Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to amend the constitution during the ongoing session of parliament. The party handed over an 11-point memorandum to Oli asking him to withdraw what they termed as fake charges against political leaders in connection with different political movements.
Sanghya Samajwadi Forum Nepal or SSF-N has asked the ruling Nepal Communist Party and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to amend the constitution from the ongoing session of parliament. The coalition party handed over an 11-point memorandum to Oli on Saturday in the presence of senior NCP members and Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa. SSF-N Nepal has urged Oli to create an environment for making the ministries led by the party more productive by providing necessary support and through increased coordination among the ministries. The party has also demanded that the government withdraw what they termed fake charges against political leaders and workers filed in connection with different political movements. The party's call follows the government's decision to allow the rights-accused Resham Chaudhary of the Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal to take oath as lawmaker last week. Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal is another party in Nepal that faced a movement for statutory reforms for constitution amendment for the rights of Madhesis.
A mass wedding ceremony was organized on Sunday in India's western Surat city, wherein over 90 orphan couples took marital vows. Scores of relatives and friends of the couples also attended the wedding event.
In a gesture that proved to be a life-changing moment for many orphan and fatherless girls, a mass wedding ceremony was organized in Surat city of India's western Gujarat province on Sunday. Around 90 couples belonging to Muslim community took wedding vows as per their religious rituals in the grand ceremony. Scores of relatives and friends of the couples also attended the wedding event. The brides were seen decked up in gorgeous red attires, extravagant ornaments, and applied mehendi or henna on their hands for the big day.
सब अच्छी रीत से खुशी हंसी खुशी हो रहा है, बहुत अच्छी रीत से यहाँ रखा गया है प्रोग्राम। आप सब बहुत अच्छी रीत से सब करा है। हमको सब चीज़ देश वेश कपड़े सब चीज़ चप्पल सब हमको देते हैं। यहाँ से हंसी खुशी और अच्छी रीत से हमारे को विदा करते हैं और यहाँ से अच्छी रीत से सब रखते हैं हमको खुशी खुशी।
इस उद्देश्य के पीछे हमारी 92 लड़कियाँ भी जो है जिसको भी हम मतलब में स्पॉन्सर करते हैं, जिसकी पढ़ाई के पीछे खर्चा करते हैं, वो उनके जोड़े उनके भी अच्छी से शादी हो जावे और वो इस निकाह के अंदर शहर के अग्रणी लोग को बुलाते हैं कि जैसे उनकी हिम्मत अफजाई होवे कि भाई हमारा निकाह के अंदर हमारा पूरा शहर हमारे साथ है, शहर के लोगों का हमारे साथ है और समान भी हम अच्छी जिंदगी जी सके, उस उद्देश्य से मतलब हमारा उद्देश्य है।
Mass marriages are becoming popular, especially among the economically backward sections of Indian society, as these help in reducing the worries of financial implications among the parents or guardians of the brides.
Artisans from across India are displaying their handicraft and handloom products during an ongoing annual fair in India's eastern Bhubaneswar city. The 11-day-long fair also includes various cultural performances by local artists.
With an objective of providing a platform to the tribal artisans to display their handicraft and handloom products, an 11-day-long annual Sisir Saras Mela or buyer-seller fair has been organized in India's eastern Bhubaneswar city. The artisans hailing from 23 different provinces of the country have displayed their bamboo products, decorative items, pottery, jewellery, terracotta items and embroidery in the fair. The local artists are also presenting their cultural performances, which are being highly appreciated by the visitors.
तो मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव हमारा है कि जो कारीगर लोग गांव में घर में जहां कुछ करते हैं, जैसे ट्राइबल आर्टिसंस है, जो आर्टिसन लोग हैं, कोई घर में कोई लेडीज़ करते हैं उनका गुजरानो मेंटेन के लिए, जो लाइवलीहुड के लिए, तो उनको प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं मिलती है क्योंकि उनको प्राइवेट का साथ कम्पीट करना इतना जल्दी चांस नहीं मिलता है, क्योंकि उनका जो हाथ से बनाते हैं तो उसको बेचने के लिए ये एक प्लेटफॉर्म हम देते हैं कि जहाँ इसीलिए फ्री स्टॉल देते हैं, उनको जाने आने का खर्चा भी DRDA से मिलता है और यहाँ रहने के लिए भी अकोमोडेशन हम देते हैं।
बनाता है सोफे है, इजी चेयर है, ट्रेंगुलर चेयर है, ट्रे है, जैसे मैगजीन स्टैंड है, फ्लावर बेस, पेन स्टैंड, हेयर क्लिप, बैंगल्स, हर आइटम हमारा बेम्बू का है। तो हम लोग गांव का सेल्फ हेल्प आदमी बना के शहर में लाता है, मार्केट मिल जाता है इसे मेले में।
Nearly 300 stalls have been put up by the artisans to display their products and earn a living by selling them in the urban market.
A 9-day-long international kite festival began on Sunday in India's western Ahmedabad city, in which participants hailing from over 45 countries displayed their kite flying skills and filled the skies with vibrant hues. The annual kite flying festival marks the start of spring season and coincides with Uttarayan, or festival of sun god.
A 9-day-long international kite festival began on Sunday in Ahmedabad city of India's western Gujarat province, in which participants hailing from over 45 countries displayed their kite flying skills. The 8th edition of the festival would witness participation of hundreds of kite flyers from across the globe, filling Ahmedabad sky with vibrant hues. A competition is also conducted during the festival where participants display their skills in cutting the thread supporting other kites.
I think everything is good. The wind is perfect, the environment is good, the decoration, the preparation, all the presentation by the kids and by the government, and everything is good. Everything is just perfect. It's on point. Yeah.
The annual kite flying festival marks the start of spring season and coincides with the Uttarayan, or festival of sun god. During the Uttarayan festival, the skies over most cities of Gujarat province remain covered with kites from before dawn until well after dark.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Connect.